The rolling green hills and warm sunny climate of the Isle of Wight are famous for producing everything from garlic to grapes. But there's a food producer who's brought a little taste of Africa to this idyllic landscape. At Newen Farm, Zimbabwean Nick Greeff and his English wife Sarah are producing an exotic South African store cupboard staple that's winning awards: biltong.
Biltong's the most important food to my husband. He couldn't live without it.
I love biltong so much. I have it in the morning for breakfast. I snack throughout the day. I even have it, if I'm allowed to, as put in after meals.
So we figured the only way for him to survive in England was to make it ourselves.
Biltong is almost unheard of on these shores, and Nick thought the examples he did find were terrible. So to cater for his obsession, they set up a company and started making their own to a traditional recipe. But what exactly is it?
What it actually is air-cured meat.
Air-curing meat was a great way to preserve it before the days of refrigeration and gives it a distinctive taste. It works particularly well in hot, dry climates, and Nick's tradition goes right back to his ancestors' store cupboards.
My family was part of the four-tracker movement that came from the Cape, moving into the interior of Africa in the 1860s, and their way of keeping meat fresh without refrigeration was to cut it up and hang it. My earliest memories of biltong was standing on a stool next to the kitchen table, laying out the meat or spicing it with my grandfather on our cattle ranch in Zimbabwe.
So does Sarah share her husband's love of biltong?
My guilty secret is I've never eaten it, because actually I'm vegetarian.
Of course, the meat available in Zimbabwe is a different world to the Isle of Wight.
Originally we'd use every animal from elephant, buffalo, impala, whatever you were lucky enough to come across, you could get a shot at them. We use beef today, and quite a lot of people prefer beef biltong. The way we're going to make it today is as close to traditional making biltong that we could do. This flavour is pepper flavour. It is one of my favourites. It is the original biltong, and one that my grandfather showed me many years ago.
After 4 hours soaking up the flavours of the pepper, Nick dips the beef in vinegar, which aids the curing process and helps preserve it better in our damper climate. It's then hung up to dry for 4 to 6 days.
We created this drying room to replicate the temperature and atmosphere of Africa, which, as you can see, dries out the biltong to perfection. Bite into a piece of dry biltong, suddenly the taste of the beef starts to shine through. The spices that you use should just be a hint in the background. The taste of biltong is something most people wouldn't have experienced in life before.
And at a shop specialising in Isle of Wight produce, Nick and Sarah try out their biltong on the locals.
That's good.
It does taste like beef more than anything. You can really taste the meat, and it's a bit like good quality beef.
You get that lovely meaty taste and the herbs that go with it.
It's actually very nice to have something made on the Isle of Wight that doesn't include garlic as a sole ingredient.
Big improvement to peanuts.
To go out and get a reaction and for people to say, no, we love it, keep making it, is just fantastic.
It's lovely to be making a product that is part of our heritage, and to bring it into a new culture and introduce it to people who appreciate it as much as I do.